Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Monday's Market Outlook here at Top Gun Options. Hopefully, everybody had a great weekend. My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz. I had a great weekend. Today's my son Jack, John Peter Buckley's birthday. He turns 15 today, and could not be more proud of the young man he has become. So, 15 years old. Happy birthday, there, John Peter. Love you very much. All right, let's go ahead and hit it. Just sent out a couple minutes ago a new weekly options trade. We have weekly options today at 1 o'clock. It's a bear call spread on the S&P 500. So I sent out a text and an email. So that should be sitting there in your inbox or on your phone. 15 contracts expiring Wednesday. This is a Wednesday expiration, the 30-20, 30-25 and a half bear call spread for about $1.05. We just don't have the airspeed to get up here. We tried to get up here back in the, end of July, beginning of August, and we imploded. Tried to get back up here in the, beginning of September, failed. Tried again, failed. Here we go a little lower, and we're going to fail again. A lot going on. And none of it really is bullish, to be honest with you. Massive week, obviously, this week with tech earnings. We're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. Hey, quick reminder, today at 3 o'clock, so after our weekly options brief, I take a break, I post all the weekly option stuff, and then at 3 o'clock, we do our newest, hottest service here at Top Gun Options. It's called Solo Amazon. It's the only symbol we trade. And we trade XLY. You'll learn about that today at 3 o'clock. If you want to grab a slot, there are still a couple available. You can head to go.topgunoptions.com/solo. We're actually closed with our full throttle slots. We got our 50, and we got them quick, which tells me that folks are starting to wake up, that you need to know what you're doing when you trade volatility or the markets or China, and we've been nailing it. We've had our third quarter was the best in 27 years, and we've just been having a phenomenal time here. So full throttle's closed, but Solo Amazon still has some room left in it. It's only $97 a month, or I'll give you 25% discount today to do $897 annually. So this afternoon, this is a critical one to go to. So if you're thinking about it, you're on the fence, do it, try it out for a month. Especially because these you get 3 of our manuals. These 3 manuals alone are $197. So we're gonna throw those in there. So technically, you're keeping $100. You're making $100 already out of the gate. But you want to attend today's brief, because today I'm actually going to establish what I call base positions in Amazon and also XLY. These are bullish positions all the way out into the future. And we're also going to preview Amazon earnings that are this week. Big week for tech. But let's talk Turkey here. China buying boatloads of soybeans, not Turkey like in northern Syria or Iraq, but this Turkey. Talk Turkey. Soybeans from Brazil. Wait, I thought the president said they're buying soybeans from us. No, of course they're not. They agreed to do a bunch of stuff. They're not doing it. Beijing demands $2.5 billion in sanctions against the United States over Obama-era WTO complaint. So this is comical. So they're going after us. So there was a WTO, easy for me to say, ruling against us, and China's looking for sanctions against us. So I thought everything was fantastic. Larry Kudlow talking earlier today on CNBC. Kudlow spikes the SPOOs above 3,000. That's the futures on the S&P 500. Says December tariffs could be taken off if China talks go well. What China talks? Oh, that's right. We're on the phone. We're not meeting again. Remember last week I broke that China says we don't even know what this phase 1 is. What term is that? We don't know what phase 1 is. But regardless, before we sign any agreement to do anything, you have to remove all, not some, all of the tariffs. The media really is kind of not paying attention here. China's attacks on U.S. businesses are completely inappropriate. So China's starting to retaliate against U.S. businesses whose employees have commented on pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. This is the LeBron chairman comrade LeBron James type of rule here, right? Going after who is it? The Rockets. I don't even care about the NBA. A bunch of overly pretentious, spoiled brats, adults who play a game with a ball and get paid millions. So LeBron endorses Hillary. He calls Trump a bunch of names. He goes out and campaigns for Clinton. Blah blah blah. But when asked about what's going on in Hong Kong and China, he goes, "Well, that's political stuff. I don't comment on political stuff." It's called a limousine liberal. He's just a hypocrite. Can't stand LeBron James. But over the coming weeks, there's two meetings in the coming weeks where China is most likely going to let us know that they were for the longest time stroking for 7, 8, 9. They had these projections of massive GDP. About 2, 3 years ago, I predicted that China would overtake the United States as the world's economic superpower. I was wrong. Why? Along came Donald Trump and is pounding the hell out of their economy. So that's a prediction that I definitely got wrong, because Donald Trump came in and said, China trade war, baby, and we're going to make things fair. So this is going to be interesting. We have some bearish positions across our portfolios on FXI. I'd stick in those. To Friday, we have the 41.5. No, we have the 42 and a half. That's a good looking bearish trade right there. Good 47 cents away. So that's a hold. I think that's in our analyze your trade and debrief portfolio. So I wouldn't use the word climb here. U.S. stocks climb to start a busy week of earnings. The Dow being up 30 and the S&P being up a couple points is climbing. Nasdaq's up about 60. Earnings generally have beaten analyst expectations to date, despite the slowing global economy. I'm going to say the word generally. Earnings have come in slightly okay or better than expected, but remember, folks, we have had a record number of companies pre-warn that their earnings were going to suck. And then when they came in a little less sucky, the stocks rally. Yay? Come on, man. That's your standard Wall Streetism. If you can't hit the ball over the net, what do? We lower the net, right, folks? No. Goldman Sachs coming out with a big warning. Buybacks are plummeting, ending a big source of buying power for the market. I briefed you on this 2 weeks ago, folks. Didn't have to wait for Goldman to come out and say this. I told you this 2 months ago. I said, hey, the number one buyer of the S&P 500 for the past couple years has been who? The S&P 500, and guess who ain't buying right now? The S&P 500. They have stopped buying back their shares, and that's not a good thing. All eyes on next week. We got about a week to go into a Fed meeting where, if earnings are good, folks, and macroeconomic data has been relatively solid, is the Fed going to cut next week? I was a 50 delta last week on whether or not they cut. I'm going 60-40. I don't think they cut. I think they sit on their hands. Now, there's not a slew of macroeconomic data. We get some existing home sales, Richmond Fed, the budget balance. I don't think the president wants to see that. HPI, nah. Well, you know what? Flash services PMI and manufacturing PMI, new home sales. Yeah, I guess Thursday I think that's the last big batch of macroeconomic data going into the Fed meeting. But I got to be honest with you, I predicted they'd cut here and the market would implode. It did. I predicted they would cut in here and the market would implode. It did. If they don't cut here, the market's definitely going to implode. And if they do cut here, the market will almost it will wallow to implode. This has to worry you. Cut, implode. Now, there's some other reasons behind these implosions here, obviously, but that should tell you something. If the market ain't staying and hovering higher on Fed cutting, or even the not QE that they're doing right now, that's bad, and I think that doesn't bode well for the future here. All right, I got to get going. I got to get ready for our 1 o'clock weekly options live brief. Like I said, there's a handful of slots available for solo Amazon. It's only $97 a month. It's our most inexpensive service. Why? Because we trade 1.5 names. We trade Amazon, the stock we call the Death Star, and then we also trade XLY, which is an ETF that is made up of 25% Amazon. So big day ahead today. Welcome aboard to all the new Full Throttle members. I'll see you if you are in weekly options at 1 o'clock. Otherwise, I'll see the rest of you at 3 o'clock today for solo Amazon. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and I'll be back with Tuesday's market sit rep tomorrow.